Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AI Content Creation Mastery Summit. My name is Simone Lea, and I am so excited to be here with all of you guys because for the next 5 days, we're going to be learning all the things about how to create professional text, image, and video content with AI that matches your brand, converts your audience, and gives you back your time. We're also going to be learning systems, strategies, automations, all of the things that you can implement today to really supercharge your business. So I am super excited to have this kickoff with you guys, get to know some of you guys, answer some of your questions, and share all of the really cool things that we're going to be learning over the next few days. But I do want to start just by introducing myself and Mitch, who's one of the other hosts as well, just so you have an idea who we are. Then I'd love to just share with you what's going to happen each day of this event so that you guys can really be prepared to take notes, learn lots of things, and expand and grow. So, my name is Simone Lea. I've been in business since I was 18 years old. I've been in the coaching industry for the last 10 to 12 years. I've spent, just so you know, my starting place, I've spent more than $10,000 on AI over the last 4 years. I'm not a beginner, but I'm nowhere near in Mitch's league, who is phenomenal and builds all of the things. So that's a little bit about me. I'm kind of when I started this summit and was learning all of this, I was kind of in that I know a bit, I use it all the time, I know more than the average person, but I really don't know that much. So I was super excited to come onto this journey with you guys, and I'm super excited to see what you guys learn as well, because I know for me, I've just learned so much. But I also want to introduce Mitch, who is one of the founders of Big Moves and also one of the hosts of this event.
Hey,
Mitch.
thanks, Mo. Excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, so excited. Can you please share a little bit about your experience with the audience so they know a little bit about you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I get into that, I just do want to apologize if there's any internet connections. I know that I'm in Bali, by the way. That's where I live these days, and Simone's in Australia. And both locations, the internet is still not great, but they're the things that we deal with for the lives that we live. While I'm talking, I would love to just know in the chat, like, why are you here? And obviously to learn a little bit about AI, but there's so much that we can learn, and that's kind of the big challenge that we have today. So that's why at the start of the year we figured that we need to put together an event like this. And the reason is, so a little bit of a background for what we've been doing. For the last 2 years, we've been building AI automation systems for clients. So we have an agency called Make Big Moves. We build anything from AI content systems to voice systems for support and sales to we're now building actually quite big systems for automating virtual events and so forth with some of the clients. And over that period of time, the way that we've built has changed quite a lot. And if you think back to 2 years ago, where we were, like, people were still just trying to figure out how to use ChatGPT, and now there's like agents that will just run 24/7 without your involvement and do some pretty amazing things. So that's one part of my history. Before that, I had before that, for the previous 8 years, I also launched somewhere between 40 to 60 virtual summits in all types of different niches. So we had a pet care brand that I sold a couple of years ago, where we produced a whole bunch of online events in that space. And I've done so in many other spaces as well for my own brands and for clients. So it was kind of like a culmination of all my experience in putting together this event, the AI Content Mastery Summit, to really make sure that we can bring some of the most advanced strategies, but things that people are using on a day-to-day basis. And that was really the big ask that we had for our speakers that you're going to see this week, which is we want you to make it as actionable and practical as possible. We don't want to be talking too much about theory and like trying to understand it from a theory point of view. Like, let's get into the tools. Let's show what you're building. Let's show how you're using these tools, so that anybody watching can literally take the same strategies and the same way of doing things and apply it to their business as well. So that was the goal, and we've definitely achieved that goal. I'm very excited to see how people use these workshops coming up and what you can do with them. And yeah, I'm excited to keep doing more of these, because it's been a lot of fun, and it's always great to stay on top of what others are doing. So I think that's enough about me. Let's move on to about the audience. And before I did ask earlier, like, why are you here? Let's have a quick look at some of these comments, Simone. So maybe if you can bring up a few, and let's see who's online, see what people are wanting to learn about.
All right. Well, we've got Susan who's coming in from the USA, which is super exciting. I believe it's Susan. She's looking to gain as much knowledge as possible as a beginner. And this is why I told you at the start that I am also not on the advanced end. So I can absolutely guarantee you are going to learn so much at that level. You're just going to, it's going to be so much fun for you. And like Mitch said, there's so much practical stuff that's in this event that you're just going to be able to take away and apply literally straight away. So I'm super excited to see you here. So thank you for coming.
Yeah, in many ways, that's a great place to be, because you get to, and a great place to learn is in a summit where you get a variety of different topics. And the biggest challenge will be, okay, where are you going to focus once you do learn a whole bunch of things? Because you don't want to be doing everything. And that was our goal, was to give you a whole bunch of different strategies to help you like understand what AI can do. And then after that, you then pick like, okay, I'm going to start with this one strategy, and then like really work on that, applying that for your business or your life or wherever you're applying it. And that's how you're going to get some momentum. So yeah, welcome. It'd be a good place to be for you.
Yep, absolutely love that. Just to point out a little bit more on that one, there is an actual strategy. It's the 5 1s, where you have the same target audience, the same target offer, the same way to drive traffic, and then also the same way to convert that traffic. So totally 100% back up what Mitch has said, that if you were to try and implement literally everything from 23 different speakers, you're not going to master anything. So find those things that really light you up over the next few days and really learn and master those, because that's where you guys are going to get the most growth and most return in your actual business, is by learning to master those key things that are lighting you up, but that will actually also move the needle forward. So just another thing to keep in mind there.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Let's do a few more.
Yes, we've got Julie. So she's from Southern California, and she's building micro SaaS apps, which is super exciting. And she's looking forward to learning how to gain market share with content-driven strategies. You are in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone else looking to build SaaS apps fairly quickly, then tune into Roscoe like day one. Roscoe's a good friend of mine. We catch up every time we're in the same town. And like I know the companies that he's working for in Australia, it's some of the biggest and best companies, and the stuff that they're building is crazy. So, and he shows you how to actually build. He builds something live. He builds a virtual summit system live while actually talking. So yeah, definitely dive into that. Cool. Let's do a few more.
All right. So we've also got Carl. Carl's here. He's just saying someone's everywhere. Julie's everywhere. So love that. Julie, obviously saying hi back. I won't bring up all of these guys. I might just skip through to the ones where you guys are kind of telling us what you want to learn. So we've got someone tuning in from Pittsburgh. So here to learn all the AI basics and whatever is advanced for my freelance copywriting business. Oh my goodness, you're going to love this. I'm new to using AI. There's so many great speakers who are talking about writing that you're literally going to love this. I think it's going to be really amazing for you to tune in to, say, John's talks, where he uses AI to make things sound a little bit more authentic. And he also talks about how you can create a system that if you're really attuned and aligned to each of those clients. So I'm super excited for you to see that one. We've got Yeah. And we've got Dwayne here, who's been immersed for a year and building cool things. Would love to hear about those. I think this is such a cool conversation. I'm so excited that we're all in this community together, where we can have this conversation about what's working, what we're doing, how we can move forward. So yeah, literally love that, Dwayne. We've got Brian, who's from Port St. Lucia, I believe, Anyway, Florida. I'm Australian, guys. I don't know all of the US places pronunciations 100%, but I do my best. We've got
Cool. So there's a whole bunch of like really great takeaways that people are looking for. So yeah, affiliate marketing, perfect for AI. And we'll get to scheduling questions in just a moment. But one thing I want to address, which comes up a fair bit for people, especially who are new. So I noticed there's quite a few new people to AI. And we've been running a community and selling products for the last couple of years with AI as well. And the people who come in are new, not always, but often get overwhelmed with like how much there is to learn. And I think learning anything new, that's like the biggest challenge, right? But it's especially challenging when it comes to AI, because if you're in business, you hear about it absolutely everywhere. Every single tool that you're using already is implementing AI. And in many ways, though, I want to say that if you feel like you're new to AI now, you've probably come in at the best time. And because there's a very clear pattern that has emerged over the last few years when with AI itself. So if you think back to when ChatGPT first started taking off, everybody just went crazy about how good it was and how it was going to take over everyone's jobs. And that was like 3 or 4 years ago, right? And they said, within 3 to 4 years, nobody will have jobs left. So there's always a massive hype period at the beginning of when something new comes out, whether that's a new tool, a new model, all of these things. But what I've noticed is that whatever the new and latest thing is right now, it's going to take 12 to 18 months for that to actually develop enough for it to be useful in real businesses making real money. So don't feel like you're left behind. In many ways, you're in the right place at the right time, because now a lot of those tools actually are quite useful for businesses. But just keeping in mind that pattern. The new pattern is obviously OpenClaw and agents, and we've got a lot of comments in our emails about people wanting to learn agents. And I absolutely think that they will be the future, and they will either replace a lot of jobs or actually help people be 10 times more productive. However, for most use cases that I see right now, I don't think agents are really needed. You can do that with automation for much cheaper, much more reliably, getting the results that you want. Of course, there are a few circumstances where agents could be helpful, but for the most part, for most people, then it's just learning AI, how to use these tools, and maybe automating a few workflows that you are doing consistently. That's where you can start to get a lot of productivity gains. Like, for example, because we are an automation team, then we have automated a lot of what we do, and we track how many hours we would save for each of the processes that we automate. And last week we saved like 50 hours just because so we've got so many automations stacked on top of each other now. So that's like more than a full-time employee, right? So the productivity gains are there, but yeah, just make sure you don't want to feel left behind. If you feel left behind, you get overwhelmed, you don't do nothing. So don't feel like that. Just like, okay, you're in the right place. Now let's start moving forward and just putting one foot in front of the other and learning a little bit and implementing a little bit, and you'll get there for sure.
Absolutely. I love this. Thank you so much, Mitch, for starting this conversation. I also just want to share with you guys, I have been in the online space for the best part of, 10 to 12 years. And back in the day, I used to spend upwards of 10 to 15 hours on a thumbnail, just in the design of a thumbnail. And now, literally with AI, you can do that in less than 30 minutes. So I back when I was first learning Photoshop, I felt so behind, because I was behind on learning Photoshop, and we used to do these big elaborate things. Now I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel behind because people are doing thumbnails in 30 minutes. In 18 months time, as Mitch says, there's going to be something else out that someone else is also going to feel behind. So just know that it is just exactly what Mitch says, of one step in front of the other, and just keep going, because we are at the ground level and it is evolving so fast. When I first started filming this summit, everyone was ChatGPT. by now, just literally 8 weeks later, roughly, we have got people who are everyone's moving over to Claude and building their own agents and all of this sort of thing. And that's just moving so fast. So don't get caught up in trying to keep up. Get caught up in learning and mastering and implementing tools that are going to make your life easier. Because as Mitch said, not everything is going to be needed at the level that you're at right now. So I love this conversation. I do want to share my personal opinion on where AI is at, is that I just think it's growing and evolving. Same as Mitch said. Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to butt in for a second, because you were talking about thumbnails there. So the crazier part is, like tomorrow, once we launch, everybody will begin to see the thumbnails that we've created. You mentioned 30 minutes. For us to create a thumbnail, it's one click of a button. So one click of a button, we go off and do something else for 3 minutes, and then I've got 3 thumbnails to choose from. So you'll see all the thumbnails that we've created, and that's how we created them. Now, obviously, there's a lot of development time before that to set up a system and a database in order to pull in the right information for that one click of the button. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out, because I think 30 minutes is still not is like the longest you would ever spend on a thumbnail. It's more like, if you're doing it manually, like 5 minutes. If you're doing it in an automated way, then it's one click of a button, and they show in a couple of minutes time. So like there's a lot of crazy things that happen. On that, this is off script. My team might hate me for saying this, but if there's anything that you see throughout the summit this week, and you wonder if it's been generated by AI, or if there is a way to generate it by AI, then just ask during these live Q&As. And I'm willing to go off script and talk about absolutely anything. And I'll share like as much as I can to help everybody. So just ask those questions throughout the week, and yeah, we can definitely dive into them.
Yep. Absolutely. And yeah, everything Mitch just said there, totally 100% agree. Like for me, a normal thumbnail is about 5 minutes these days. And it's the same with video editing. What used to take, you guys will see this, but what used to take hours and hours and hours, I used to spend 1 hour on 1 minute's worth of video editing. And now we're at a point where it's just a couple of clicks of the button, and all of the ums are out of words and all of the things like that. You can make clones in less than an hour, clones of yourself who can show up on social media and act as you. You can build agents and bots now that will self-automate and self-create all the content. You can build management systems that are going to track your clients and write your newsletters for you. The world has just expanded so much and so fast. I think it's just one of those things, you've just got to go into it with an open mind and just have fun and learn and play with it, because like it is fun and it is cool, and it is going to change the way we operate as business owners.
Absolutely. Awesome. Where to now, Simone?
Well, I was just seeing if there was any more things in the comments that anybody wants to share, but let's dive into what you guys are going to learn each day, because I'd love to just share a little bit more about that with you guys. So what I'll do is I'll give you an overview of day 1. And then if anybody's got any questions, what about if we just put that in the chat, or if Mitch wants to chime in on anything, we can, just so that like you guys actually get to interact with us as well, because I don't want to just talk at you guys for an hour. I want you guys to interact with us today. So day 1 is literally AI systems and strategy, which is going to be awesome. And as Mitch mentioned, we do have Roscoe Patterson coming on, who is going to show us how to ship 3 AI apps per week with his method, which literally is insane considering the amount of time it used to take to do this sort of stuff. And now he's just like getting it done. And it's so much better than anything you could even imagine 10 years ago. Like it's mind blowing what he's doing. Dr. Nikki Sweeney is also going to be in, and she's going to be talking about how to build AI content agents fast. Now, this conversation kind of blew me away, because when I hear the words Dr. Nikki, I'm thinking to myself, she's going to be really serious. This is going to be really dry. This conversation got me so excited. She was so engaging. She had so many interesting things to say. Like halfway through it, you guys will see me just be like, this is just the coolest, you are the coolest human. Or maybe I say that to her afterwards. But the stuff that she's building to build in the processes and systems in her business, she's literally building in staff members that would cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Like she's building in the systems to actually build your business to a multi-million dollar level a year business. So this conversation was super exciting. Also, we've got Kinsey coming in, who's creating AI playbooks. Now, this is revolutionizing the work you're doing for clients. So this gives you some kind of just an expansive way to think about, okay, what am I doing for my clients and how can I automate that? Taking your workload from, say, 40 hours to create a document for a client or a report or some sort of plan. And she's doing that in less than 30 minutes. And to be honest, she's not even the one doing it. It's the AI that's taking the 30 minutes. So this was also a super cool conversation because it helps you to kind of see, oh, well, like maybe I can change the way I'm actually fulfilling my client work to actually be able to 5 times my output, which obviously is going to 5 times your revenue, isn't it? So that is also a super cool conversation. We've got Coach Ellen, who's going to talk all about how she integrates Notion, the app Notion, how she integrates Notion into her life and her business and uses that as a system for everything for managing her business, which is also super cool. And then we've also got Simone Ferretti, who just phenomenal human, 0 to 100K followers in 10 months with AI. Now, this was a fun conversation. He's someone who's just, when I first saw his profile, I was thinking to myself, is this actually a human or is this the clone? And even on the call with him, I'm like, does he have a filter? Like everything in his setup, everything he does looks so professional and so perfect. So you really are, even from day one, learning all of the tips from the masters of this industry, of the AI and content creation industry. So I'm super excited about day one. What questions do you guys have?
Yeah, so also let me point out, so Russell asked there about scheduling as well. So the way that we've run this and built this event is the reason why we have insights into all of these conversations is because they get pre-recorded. The reason why we do that is to minimize the tech issues and because of the scheduling for some of these people, you just can't get them on certain days. So we want to make sure that we eliminate all of those variables in order to make sure we can produce the best possible events and workshops for you. So all of those are pre-recorded. They'll go out on a day-to-day basis. Once they're out though, they're out. A lot of the summits we've done in the past is they're out for 24 hours and you lock them away, blah, blah, blah. We don't do any of that. We just want people to be learning all of this information. So once they're out for the whole week. You can catch up anytime. So whether you're on the Eastern time zone or you're somewhere else, once they're out, you're going to be able to watch them at your own convenience. So yeah, that's how we have insights. And then the live components, obviously this time of day. So whatever time it is for you right now is the same time that we'll be doing lives each week. And that's your opportunity to engage and ask questions and really help get a better understanding for the direction you should take based on that day. That's what we're here for. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure all of that was clear as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. And I probably should have told you guys a little bit about what does happen each day. So day 1 is AI systems and strategy. Day 2 is AI content creation. Day 3 is video mastery. Day 4 is growth and sales. And day 5 is advanced tools. So it is a very, very exciting lineup. We do have guests from all over the world. You've got Simone Ferretti, Renee Remsick, both in Europe. You've got so many people from America, literally I think maybe 65% of the guests for America. You've got a couple from Australia. So getting everybody together and creating an event with worldwide speakers has been a very, very fun time, but it is also why we pre-record this sort of stuff. So I'm super excited for you guys to see what we have put together because it is such a stellar lineup with so much value and so many teachable, implementable pieces. So just to give you guys an overview, that is what's actually going to be happening on each day, which is super fun.
Absolutely.
So back to day 1.
Let's answer a few more questions that are coming up. So one in there, if you can put it up, from Jennifer about Anthropic's $497 a month worth of Academy certification. I don't think that's the right one. Jennifer Gardner. So yeah, that's the one. So, honestly, I didn't even know that was available. Of course, if it's directly from them, then it's probably a good place to start for sure. So yeah, if that's available, then absolutely go and learn about it. The place to stay up to date for more advanced stuff is typically YouTube. And a lot of the most common YouTube videos that have reached the most people are the ones that appeal the most to beginners. And then if you want to go a little bit more advanced, you need to find the real nerdy guys. And they typically don't have as many views, but the content is pretty advanced and you do some crazy stuff. So like keep that in mind as like a mental framework for, okay, if I'm starting out on a new topic, let's find the mass market type of videos, and then I can dive into those a little bit further. That's what I've noticed. Or, I mean, some people are just not great at creating content on YouTube, so they could not have a lot of views as well. Cool. The one after that, Simone. Is the LLM the key or are prompts the holy grail? This is a really interesting question. I think from my perspective, all of the different LLMs have kind of their own persona. So you might use Claude for, I mean, you definitely use it for coding and those types of tools. We also use it for writing content most of the time. But then you might use Grok for research, especially anything to do with X and the sentiment that you find on X. And then you might use ChatGPT for something else. So like, I think they have a lot of their own different personas and their own use cases. However, they are like converging. So like the more training that they do for newer models, the more power that they can use in order to train those models, they all seem to be like approaching to the same destination. So there probably becomes a time where they all kind of become the same, but I don't know if they're there yet. I think there are still different use cases for each model. Now, the prompts are also like super important because the prompts are different for the different ways that you're using it. So when I first got started, I had like a prompt framework that I would follow religiously all of the time. And that was actually detrimental to a certain degree, because there's sometimes when you need like a really solid prompt framework where you're providing context, you're providing brand context, you're providing like the instruction of what it needs to do, an example, and all of these things. But sometimes you don't actually need all of that stuff. Like you can actually get a lot more from the AI if you give it a much broader scope to actually go out and be a little bit creative. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. So for us, when we're building automations, typically our prompts are massive because we're feeding in a lot of different variables about the brand, about the like, for example, if we're creating content based on a transcript, we're feeding in the transcript and the name of the person and all of these types of things. And it could be like 5 pages long, the entire prompt. So it really just depends. I think the only way to figure it out is to explore all of them and test them all and like understand the different use cases that you are using them for. But I guess as a general rule, like I said before, we use Grok for a lot of research and sentiment analysis. We use Claude and ChatGPT for the main parts of our business. Claude, especially for any coding automation type work, and Gemini, obviously, they're getting great at image creation and also like large context windows and sorting through all of that data. So that would be my answer. Do you have an opinion on that, Simone, or not so much?
I just want to say that the one thing we do have to remember is that these are just tools. So don't get stuck on, I'm just going to use Claude. Just think about, okay, well, I'm just going to try them all out. They're all just separate tools. Let's have a play with them and see what happens. There's nothing wrong with spending 20 minutes just trying out. Okay, well, let's see what happens if I post the same prompt into Claude as to Gemini, right? Because the thing is, over time, everything's going to change. And as I said, 2 months ago, everybody was ChatGPT. Now everybody is literally into Claude. So in another 2 to 3 months' time, everybody could be talking about Gemini. We don't know. So what I would say is just think about them as tools, not as I'm just going to get stuck with Claude and that's what I'm going to use. And Claude's going to be my best friend and it's going to build my whole business and I'm just going to love Claude forever. Just kind of think this is a tool. How can I best use what I've got access to, which is all of the tools, to create the outcome that I desire, and keep being aware that as you go through, things change. For example, new iPhone every 12 months. because the tools get better. And these tools are exactly the same like that. It's one of those things where they're always going to be growing and expanding. So try them out. In 3 months' time, come back and try them again. See whether something's shifted. See whether you prefer it more or less. See what the output is, because your business is going to grow at the rate of which you can allow yourself to expand, grow, and evolve, and to build the systems to support you to do that. So if something changes and you can implement really quick and try something else that works even better, why not? So that would be my opinion there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have automations built that are still using ChatGPT 4 because that's all we need to do that part of the workflow. So yeah, it just depends what you're building. But also in saying that, Claude has some really cool things where you can build PDFs and all sorts of crazy stuff. So it is actually really cool to keep using the new tools as well. Awesome.
I do love
Next question.
All right, who else is in here? So we have got a comment from Jennifer. I'll just bring that up as well. So doing cloning, learning Claude now to master Claude code. So very psyched about the Anthropic release of their academy to be free now. So that is super cool. Yeah. So, and thank you for being here.
Brian also asked about Claude Coworks. Is there any sessions coming up about Cowork?
Oh, that's exciting. So we've got a few sessions that touch on actually all of that. So Dr. Nikki Sweeney, she'll be touching on that sort of stuff and automations and stuff like that. I'll definitely chime in and watch Roscoe's session for sure. Who else? I think Andy O'Neill would be a good one to chime in on. Navid talks a little bit about Claude as well and all of that sort of stuff. So there's actually a few sessions you can jump in to learn some of that more deeper stuff. And
Arvel as well, right?
Arvel for sure. Yes, definitely. Arvel was amazing. So yeah, actually his session was really, really good. They were all really, really good. I hate to say this. You know what, guys? Just watch all of them. But no, seriously, Arvel, we actually went quite deep as well into how to do things. Navid actually showed us right through his workflow. So you could see how he goes from one thing to the other. So that was super cool in real time to see that. So yeah, there's a big opportunity when watching this event to literally be able to understand how to use Claude Code, how to use Cowork, how to use like literally everything. Like, yeah, we definitely go deep on this subject. I've lost my words.
Maybe not everything. So the other thing that we do is we also track all of the different AI tools that are coming out. And so far, we've just like a couple of simple automations set up. We've tracked more than 1,400 AI tools. So it's such a big challenge trying to keep up with the tools that are actually useful. And there's, based on what we've seen, and we do like a little bit of review of tools here and there, obviously all of the top models are the best place to start. That's where you find the best productivity gains. You have full control over what you can do. And then you can actually automate some of those using database tools and tools like NAN, which is basically what we've been doing for 2 years. So that's like the level number one to really gain experience in. But then there's like a level 2. And I think there's maybe like 50 tools that sit on level 2 that are actually super useful, where they take those top LLM models and then they push it through their own IP, their own processes, in order to do a certain part of the workflow. And that's super powerful. And there's probably 50 to 100 of those tools. And then everything else under that is, I don't know, like they seem to just be maybe vibe coded, not a lot of thought put into them. And yeah, you have to be careful. So like you don't want to be learning about everything, but just like really understanding what are the tools that people are using. And that's why we do these types of events. Is these people are number one, they're doing well in their own business, whether they're content creators with a lot of followers or they're business owners. Some of them are 7-8 figure business owners in this event. So they're actually doing the work and making money by using these two tools as well, which if you're in business, then like that's the most important thing, right? Like it doesn't matter to you whether you're using ChatGPT 3.5 or 5.4, as long as it's helping you make more money and be more productive. If you're in business, then that's ultimately what you're looking to achieve. So yeah, that's a little bit further. So another question there I just want to answer is, how long are the daily sessions? So just reiterating what we said before, they go anywhere between like 30 minutes to 50 minutes. Maybe there's one over an hour long, but once they're up, they're up. Like, they're up for the week. So after that, they will come out on YouTube over 3 months, but they're up for the week. So you can, if you decide that you want to catch up on day one this weekend, then you can do all of that as well. So yeah, once they're up, you get to watch them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do just want to say as well, with what we were just saying before, take a lot of this as a tester. Like, yes, okay, as I said, there is about 4 or 5 sessions that are going to teach you a lot about Claude and Claude Cowork. So that's going to be really awesome for everybody who does want to have a solid foundation in Claude and Claude Cowork. But I know when I was having the conversation with Ali Mirza, he was blown away that some of the tools that he uses, most people don't even know about. And that's the thing, is there really is so many tools. And if you go down that rabbit hole, you're going to be down there for a while and you're probably never going to hit the end. So yeah, try and use those main things, try and learn those main things. And obviously use this summit, the next 5 days, as a taster for some of the other things that the big names are using, that they're using every single day in their business, that they're using to make their lives easier, that they're using for automations, and try and not rabbit hole yourself out of productivity too much. And use this as a taster. This is a really great way for you guys to see some really, really cool software, to learn for some really, really big names who are doing really cool things in their own industry. And even one of the conversations I had, which blew my mind, was Christine Morel. And she's the lady who you guys are going to see. She created a clone of herself and she makes these funny clone AI ads. And I was expecting to jump onto this call and she was going to be like, yeah, use this software, this software, this software, this software. And she was just straight up. She's like, people ask me what software I use and what I like the best. And I use one software and I learned that software and I use that software well, and I don't know anything else. And I was just blown away because of the fact that she's probably one of the best at what she does. She's very good at making funny AI clone style ads. Like, she's phenomenal at it, but she's not even there changing tech. So yeah, just keep an open mind, have a look at what's available to you and just work with it, see what's going to work for you. Let it expand your mind a little bit. Don't dive down all the rabbit holes, but try some new things and see what works.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of really good questions are coming in that I want to answer. Yeah. One housekeeping question before I get to those other ones, which is, where do we find the sessions when they are up? So what will happen is you'll get an email at the start of each day, and they'll have a link inside that takes you straight into a page, and then all of them will be there available. So yeah, just keeping a lookout in your emails each day. So it'll be right around that 7 a.m. Eastern time. On the agenda page, there should be a button where you can click and check what time Eastern time is for other time zones if you're somewhere else in the world. So yeah, all of those things will be taken care of and you will get access immediately each day. The two really good questions. Number one, how to distinguish between the legit, helpful, and creative tools to the fly-by-night tools. And that is a great question. And I honestly don't have an answer. And let me explain this, because so before we pivoted our BigMoves.ai brand to be doing these events, we were looking at doing like a directory. So that's why we're pulling in so many different tools into a database so that we could then review them and then put the review out online. Two things. Number one, a lot of the tools that we scraped into the system and then we were going to review them like 3 months later had already disappeared. I'm saying maybe like 5% of them. So like they are turning over a lot, which means if it is a brand new tool, then you're at risk that it could disappear within 12 months time. And there's no real way that we could understand that. I mean, no, there's no real way. I was going to say sometimes the websites aren't great, but then there's other tools that we tested where the website's absolutely terrible and the tool is amazing. So you can't even tell that way. The other thing that I noticed is when we were creating these reviews, we were also looking at the different reviews from Trustpilot and Product Hunt and G2 and Google, and a lot of the tools that come out, they'll get reviews in the early days and they'll be one star, 2 star, because it's not that great. But that's the development cycle of a new business, right? Like especially when you put something out, you have to put something out quickly to test if there is a little bit of traction, which means the product's not going to be that great. And then you inevitably going to annoy a lot of customers who expect a lot more because they don't know that you're new. So you couldn't even rely on the reviews, because some of the reviews are just typical growing pains of a new business where they're trying to find that product market fit. And then maybe they've got a good development team, and then they develop something good over the next year or two, and then the product is really amazing. So, I mean, if there's very obvious reviews where the product's not changing and there's issues with billing or whatever, then of course you can tell by the reviews. But even the reviews aren't reliable. So I'm sorry to say, but at least from my perspective, there's no real way that we could distinguish other than you getting in there, trialing it for yourself for a couple of hours and seeing if it actually is useful for you. The best way is to just wait a little while. Like if something's really good, content creators are going to pick it up within 6 months time, and you'll start to see and hear about it everywhere. So that's typically what we wait for now, is we want to see it in multiple locations, make sure that that people are using it, not just getting paid to use it. And then that's when we will dive into a tool. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a video editing software that I found, and I was using it and I was like, I just don't love it. And so I stopped using it. And then on Ali Mirz's conversation, he was like, he uses this particular tool all the time. And so it's one of those things where when I first heard of it, it was still on that ground level. So it wasn't hitting my needs. But with that time to evolve of a couple of years, now it's being used by some of the biggest names in content creation and AI. So there is sometimes that let it grow a little bit out of its infancy and testing stages, and it'll turn into something amazing. So
absolutely. Awesome. Next good question here is from Rod, and Rod asks, is MindPal your most useful tool? Interested in collaborative AI? So it's a good question. I don't know if it's the most useful. I mean, it depends what you mean by useful, I would say. So it is useful for us in the community. So like I mentioned at the start, we've been building typically just big systems for clients over the last couple of years. And when we first started sharing this in more of a one-to-many type of way, like a community type of way, what we used to provide to our community were these templates built in Airtable, in NAN, or in Make, and then everybody had to spend hours joining them all together, and in order to use the system, because we're trying to share what we're building for clients with everybody else as well. And for some people that was okay, but for most people it wasn't that accessible. Like nobody really wants to spend hours setting up these different templates and understanding APIs and trying to figure all of this stuff out for themselves. So that's where MindPal become quite useful for us, where we could take smaller chunks of these builds that we were building for clients, and then build these small tools that if you wanted to get access to them, you could start using them straight away. We also noticed that you could also do that for important parts of your business processes for your internal team as well. Because there's one challenge that I see with so many creators who are talking about Claude Code and co-work and stuff is it's a very closed off system. Of course, you can API into all of these different tools and use those, but a lot of Claude, it's a very individualized system that people are building, meaning you can't easily train others to use it exactly how you use it. There's always going to be some sort of variable based on how the users want to use it, based on mistakes and so forth. So whereas with tools like MindPal, and especially tools like NAN, you can actually build workflows where your team or a person has to follow a certain pathway in order to get the output that they require. So that's why these tools are good, is they just they give you a little bit more control over the end destination of where you're trying to get to, rather than just giving somebody a ChatGPT login or a Claude login and just saying, here's how we do it, go and figure it out for yourself. So that's where I'd say they become useful. MindPal is especially useful if you are also somebody with a community, or you want to create a community, and you want to create little individual mini tools, that we call them, for the community. And you don't need to have an AI community for these to be useful. We actually have a few niche brands that we create these virtual summits for, And even in, the relationship space, the parenting space, we're still using mind power to build tools that are relevant for that niche. So yeah, no matter, I can't really think of a niche where they wouldn't be useful for, if you are trying to build up a community and provide them with some tools that are going to be useful. So I hope that was valuable.
I'd love to share just a little bit on the nerdy back end side of life too, guys, here. It's been really interesting for me, who has done a lot of summits before. So I've worked in or been a part of over 15 summits, but this was 3 to 4 years ago. And when I jumped in to do this summit with the guys from Big Moves, they were like, yeah, we're just going to build it as we go. And it's been really cool to see Mitch and GP build something into a piece of software where it literally will just suck information from wherever it needs to, from as simple as, I will upload the transcript, it'll then make the thumbnail, or it'll then make some show notes, or it'll then make a cute little graphic, or whatever it needs to do. And it's been really, really nerdy and cool and interesting for me to watch the guys build the literal entire system in front of my eyes. We started off with basically just a blank template and just doing his magical back end things. Mitch has built something that we can just plug in and play into every single new summit that we do, because he's now done the groundwork to make it so systemized. And for me personally, I just found that to be so incredibly interesting and nerdy and cool, and oh my God, this is where it's going. This is how the cool people are operating in business now, because that's the thing is, Mitch doesn't need to use what he's built for us just this one time. He can now literally use that system in 60, 70, 80 summits all at the same time if he wanted to, because the system is now built and it's so easy and automated that it's just oh, you've done this, put a tick here. Oh, you've done that, just upload that there. Oh, you want to do this, click play here. And it's literally just mind-blowing to see what's achievable. So I think if you can have access to learning how to do some of that sort of stuff, it can change the way you're operating really fast.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost opening a can of worms here where I would then start talking for hours. But let me just say this. 2 years ago, I created a YouTube video called SaaS is Dead. And it was really early, but I could see it back then where we're moving to is all businesses are going to have their own individualized AI operating system. Now, this could be inside of Airtable, which is what we do, or it could be vibe coded, or you could maybe spend more money and have a proper developer develop a full system for you. But what is happening is you'll have one central location where all of the data feeds into that one location through APIs and agents, and you just use the operating system to orchestrate the entire business. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're moving to. I mentioned earlier, we say 55 hours. It's because we're building these types of systems and we're just stacking automation on top of automation. We've got dozens and dozens and dozens of automations for all of the tiny little things. And you don't want to start this way, but there's a lot of little 5-minute jobs of moving content from here and uploading it onto YouTube, or moving it from here into another system and then back again. There's those little 5 minutes, 2-minute things that don't seem like a lot, but the context switching between different windows and different dashboards actually chews up a lot of brain power. And if you can just do that context switching with a button click instead of having to do it yourself, then that's how you start to really move forward a lot. I don't want to go too deep into this because, like I said, I could talk for hours and it's not what the summit is about. But that is where we're moving to. So if you store that in the back of your mind, okay, in the next few years, maybe we're moving to that point. What is the first step that I need to learn now in order to understand how I can start to stack some of these different strategies and processes on top of each other? And then, you're really in the right place. And before you know it, life just takes over and time goes by, and all of a sudden you're an expert in AI in a year's time. So, that's it.
The other thing I'll say is, as well as between the three of us who've put this summit together, we've all done over 100 summits between the three of us. So for us to build in those automations, we already knew what the workflows needed to look like because we've already done it. So what I would say as well is before you start to build automations, make sure it's something that you already know the process of. Don't just kind of dive in and be like, I've never edited a video in my life, but now I'm going to make a video automation, or, kind of have an understanding of what it is you actually need the software to do before you actually start to build it. So that's just another thing I'd say there. But we do have a question from Zippy, which is for you, Mitch. Would you recommend learning Airtable's APM Make or NBN as a beginner, and what to do with automations? I know we don't want to dive too deep into this, but
yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Not everybody has that what's the word that I'm looking for, like the desire to learn those types of things. But it is valuable for sure. If you have a little bit of a technical background and you think you could understand databases and automations, and also it's a lot easier than you think it is as well. Like everything I've done is self-taught, just from having a bit of an understanding of automations and a logical brain. So it is easy to understand. And there's thousands of templates online that you can use. We do have an NAN product that we have a whole bunch of templates. I don't want this to turn into a selling thing, but that is available if you want to dive into that. But yeah, there's tons of stuff on YouTube as well. So yeah, like NAN has, like, I'm not lying when I say there's a screenshot. I sent it out to my newsletter last week. You can go to mitchasser.com and read the last newsletter where I sent out the screenshot of us saving. It wasn't 55 hours, it was 52 hours, up 19 hours from the week before. And that was because we were processing so much summit content, which normally we would have had an extra team member or two team members to process all of that content. Whereas now it was just done through the NAN workflows. And yeah, like Simone said, is in my last business, we had a team of 7 people. We could produce 1 summit per month with that team of 7. And that was kind of our limit. This system will allow us to do at least 1 per week if we wanted to, with the same amount of team. So like that's the real business use case or business case for building these automations. Is it can take that like increased productivity that much. But of course, then you've got to spend time building that as well, right? For whatever your internal process is. So, yeah.
Love that. We did also get a quick question on where the replay is going to be located, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So like we are coming to the end. We're about to wrap up all of this. So if you do have final questions, make sure you pop them in there now, and make sure we answer them before we finish up. But in terms of replays, so again, what will happen is at the start of each day, you will receive an email that'll have access to the day 1 for you, and you can start to go through all of those sessions on day 1. Once day 2 comes out, day 1 will remain. So the same URL that you get for day 1 is still there, and then day 2 will come out, and there'll be a new page where you can go and dive into day 2. So over the course of the week, you'll have an email for each of the days. They'll have all the links in there. You can go back in there. They'll all be available until Sunday night. From Sunday night, we then not publish them, but we then schedule them on YouTube over the next 3 months. So there will be an opportunity to watch them later on YouTube, but they're only coming out 2 talks per week. So the one talk that you want to watch might not come out until June, for example. So if you can watch them all during this week, then that's absolutely going to be the best way to do so. And that allows you to like get a foundation of what is actually happening and where maybe you need to go next after you've watched them all. And then you can rewatch them over the next 3 months as they come out. And that's how I learn, by the way. I always fascinated how other people learn. But the way I learn, like if I'm doing a new course, if I'm doing YouTube videos, if I'm trying to go into a new topic, is I'll surface level watch as much as I can. I want to like get a feel for multiple opinions and see what people are saying. And then there'll be parts of what I watch that resonate with what I need and like the way that I want to learn and the things that I want to get from this content. And then I'll go super deep on that and maybe watch that thing 3 times and then find, okay, what's the next topic based off that? And then I'll go super deep on that. So maybe that's helpful for others, but that's how I learn best.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a learn by doing. I will just dive in there and then I'll figure it out along the way. So yeah, I think that's very, very helpful. Thank you, Mitch. We do also have a question in here about, will we cover how to build automations that do not require a lot of hand weaving and brittle interloop logic? So we do have a lot of sessions that are going to cover automations and things like that. Obviously, on the first day, you've got Kinsey, Dr. Nikki Sweeney. A few of those conversations are really going to speak to some of those automations. And then there's also some very, very cool conversations from some of the guys as well. Obviously, like Roscoe's going to be showing you some pretty cool things. We've talked about who else? Let me see. Andy O'Neill's going to be sharing some cool stuff. John Schumacher. So there's going to be some really, really, really cool sessions that you guys can watch that you can implement straight away that aren't going to like fry your brain or be too technical. And then also they are things that you can take to that more technical level. So I will say that a lot of the stuff that relates to, say, strategies or automations or integrations, you can put them in at the level that you're at. So for example, if you're a beginner business or entrepreneur, you might be putting it in at a level that's completely different to someone else who's been in business for 5 years puts it in at, but you're still going to get that same concept and still going to get the understanding of how to do that from watching the sessions. It's just going to depend on where you personally and your business is at as to what you end up building.
Absolutely. Awesome. Simone, can you just add in the comments, I don't have access to them just by writing, to Zippy my website. So yes, that'll be in the comments. The other questions here before we finish up is, let's dive into, there's one here. There's a question here. Some of the bigger entities will likely acquire some of the smaller ones that have promises, I would think. Eventually it'll become easier to wade through all of the AI tools, which, yeah, absolutely. It's some of them, but they do have to get quite big before they get to that point as well. One really good example of that is Menace. And Menace is now beginning to become nicely integrated into Meta. So if you're doing any types of advertising, we've not dived into it too much yet. I've just been watching a few videos, but the worst, like setting up ads for these types of events can be very time consuming. Whereas now they're using Menace, which is an AI agent tool to help set up your campaigns, is going to be crazy. So like, I fully agree with that. A lot of the best tools will get eaten up and acquired by these bigger companies for sure. There's also, I think, 2 questions now around, is there a replay of today's events? So the Q&As each day, they sit on YouTube in the live component. So you know how there's 2 different tabs, you've got the video and then you've got the live, so they'll sit in the live component. We'll also embed day 1 to 5 in the website as well. So they'll be at the bottom, they'll always remain there each day, so you don't have to leave the website as well. So they'll be in 2 locations to catch up on any of these live components as well.
Love that. I haven't filled you guys in on what's happening on the rest of the days yet. So let me just, I know that we're running out of time and I know you guys have probably got more questions.
Like we've done day 1, right? Which is the most important one. So let's do it that way, which is at the end of day 1, we'll then talk about day 2 and so on. So yeah, I think day 1 should be the focus. Like, let's make that a great day. I think a lot of the best sessions, from my perspective, maybe are on that day. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great one. And then of course we'll be here tomorrow to dive a little bit more into systems as well. So I am going to go a little bit deeper into some of my thoughts and learnings around building these AI systems like Airtable to give you a bit more of a perspective on that as well.
Yeah. Amazing. So it's a stay tuned, guys. You're just going to have to come back every day and hang out with us and see all the things. So I love that. Is there any final wrap-up questions that anyone's got?
Let's check, make sure we didn't miss anything. I think we've covered it all.
I think we might have. Do you have any final closing words for today, Mitch?
I've talked too much already. So like, final words are just enjoy the week and tune into as many sessions as you can. And also I know a lot of people don't like to engage, but if you are one of those people, like, who doesn't normally engage, just send one comment throughout the week, whether on the live or a reply to an email. It just helps us understand that if we're on the right track or if we can do something better. We're always looking to improve. But yeah, just one comment per week and I would be absolutely stoked.
Absolutely love that. And guys, like when I first started this process, I knew it was going to be fun, but I didn't realize how much fun it would actually be. So go into this week with that playful learning energy of just openness, because so many of these sessions, you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I can do that. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. Or, oh my gosh, I can implement this. Or, oh my gosh, how cool is that? And you'll find that just by going into it really open and playfully and asking questions, like Mitch and I are both here to support all of you, to answer all your questions to the best of our ability, to give you guidance if you need it. We've both been in the industry for years, and we're both here just to support you guys on your journey and build community of like-minded people. So engage with us, ask us questions, come in with an open mind, enjoy the week, because it's just honestly going to be so fun. Like, I've loved this. I feel so blessed to have been your guys' host on this adventure. And yeah, I just hope you all enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Absolutely. You've done great, Simone. Thanks everyone being here, and we'll see you tomorrow.